Hey, what's up, family? What's going on? Welcome back. It's time for yet again another episode of Eddie G's Comic Culture. Once again, I'm your host, the one and only Eddie G, here bringing it to you guys live and in full effect regarding all things pop culture related from comic books, movies, television, and music from past, present, and now. And as well, we're going to be delving into a few things into the future as well for future projects. But just to give you a basic outline as to what the show is about, for all of my repeat viewers, I'd like to thank you guys once again for returning to the show. I appreciate the love and support. If you guys are just brand new, like I said before, we're here to. This is basically a forum to discuss all things comic book related that we are passionate about. Anything regarding graphic novels, books, anything you guys feel like talking about. This is what the show is basically it. It's centered mainly about pop culture, and I like to keep it as broad as possible with all the different array of subjects and so on and so forth. First and foremost, I gotta give my shout outs. You guys already know the show is still sponsored by the great folks over at Black Apparel. Make sure you check them out. They have an awesome website at www.blackapparelblk.com. They've been dropping some stuff on their Facebook page as of recently this week. They've got some awesome gear. So in case you guys are looking for something to throw on and you got some ducats to spare, make sure you check them out. And they got all their merchandise also, just in case you guys are interested. If you're curious, just make sure you give it a look-see whenever you guys have the opportunity to do so. Also sending a special shout out, of course, to my good friend and brother, Kevin Seawright. Thanking him once again, brother, for all the stuff that you've done to the show. The contributions have been great. I couldn't do it without you. You've been wonderful with the support as well. And sending a special shout out also to my Instagram fam, Blu-ray Dan, who's also been an inspiration for this show. Make sure you check out his page. He's constantly keeping it refreshed, especially with what's coming up with the Oscar season. As of now, they did announce the nominations, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday about this. So definitely check it out. He's got some pretty fresh reviews on all movies, old and new, on Ultra 4K Blu-ray, also unboxing, and as well he's done a very excellent job with his congratulations. I have to congratulate him myself because he's also he's an inspiration in many aspects. He's had a wonderful weight loss journey. He's actually chronicled that as well on his YouTube channel. So please check it out. This man has done some amazing feats with his with his physique over than last year. He deserves definitely the praise for this. Okay. Kicking things right about now. Let's just get right to it. I know it's been a while since I've actually started, since I've done an episode. I know I did one for I did one for New Year's also. But the basic gist of it is January is usually a slow month. It's not really a month for anything, honestly. After New Year's is done, I guess everything is just like, for some reason, like it's always like a dead month, and it seems like that in every media spectrum, from films. Like, you cannot see anything in the theaters at all because, like, everything that comes out throughout the month of January, no matter what, is just like ridiculously bad for some reason. I have no idea why, but it's always been that way. And as well as comics so far, I know DC still got a lot of that this major storyline. I'm not too sure what it was. I just forgot the name of the title of it. I do apologize, but and that's basically my fault because I've been out of the loop with collecting as well. So I'm still picking up my volumes as far as the trades go. I'm almost finished with my Batman volume, by the way. So I'll be doing a review on that pretty soon. But so far so good. It's just been like, I've just been lounging. I've been playing a lot of Shadow of War. Thanks to the wife for hooking me up for that one for Christmas. Doing a great game, awesome. Honestly, been a fantastic follow up to the first one. I'll be discussing some of that in another, and I'll actually do a review on that game in another episode because it deserves that. As well as Super Mario Odyssey. I'm finishing up that one as well. But getting right to the nitty gritty, I guess it's that time to start discussing some things. So far, not a lot has been happening as of recently. Shazam has finally started kicking off production this month in Toronto. It's looking phenomenal. I've been following the speaking of Instagram, or reverting back to the Instagram earlier. I've been actually following the film's director and the main star, on Instagram as well, Zachary Levi, and Man, it is shaping up to be something. I have such a great feeling about this movie. The way the director shows his passion for this, the way he's just building such an insane amount of hype for me right about now that I cannot wait to see to see the final product of Shazam. Even a teaser trailer or even just a shot of Zachary Levi alone in costume will be amazing just to see. It's gonna blow my mind. And me and my father's actually hyped about this as well. It's looking very good. Mr. David Sandberg, I said, as I mentioned before, the director, he has his Instagram page. I've been following him, and he's got some awesome, and funny as shit, pictures on his page. Definitely, guys, like it's pretty hilarious what he's been doing, especially with the Mezco and especially with the figures, but and particularly so the Mezco figures that he has with Shazam. The photos that he has been taking, like the clips he's been making, has been hilarious. So I definitely implore you guys to check it out. It's you will not be pissed. You will not be disappointed in any way, shape, or form. But wow, it's looking really awesome. Mark Strong is Doctor Savannah, so that's looking great as well. I know he's been looking to go ahead, and I know he's been actually looking to to reestablish himself in comic book films, and he's a great actor. He really is a great actor. I loved him when I first saw him in the first Sherlock Holmes in a Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. I thought he was phenomenal there in that film. And he was great as Sinestro in Green Lantern, despite the fact that Green Lantern not being the movie that a lot of people were looking for anyway. But regardless of the fact, like, he was definitely great as Sinestro, and it was a shame that he never really got the opportunity to grow as the as the character for further installments, considering the fact that they shelved whatever possible sequels were along the way. But he's really sinking his teeth into it. He's excited to do this, and I can't believe that he's actually going to the gym for whatever reason to play this role. For some, it makes really no sense because the man is a mad scientist, and and he's about as he's got the built of a twig, so it really doesn't make any sense. But in any case, I guess it has to fit for the scenario of the film to make it to pose as a serious threat on camera. So, but it's been looking phenomenal so far. I cannot wait for this film. Zachary Levi as well. He's been, this cast has just been shaping up to be something amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I cannot wait for April 2019 as much as it is. Even though it means I'll be it'll be a year, I'll be a year older, but I'll be living vicariously through the characters on screen with this film, and I cannot believe that it's actually happening. It's definitely happening. So that's one of the major things that is actually kicked off that I'm excited about. We still haven't gotten a photo of him in costume yet, which is what we're all chomping at the bit for as fans. But to each in due time, we'll definitely get that, and I can't wait. But the few things that have happened so far, apparently these of course, the fallout of the Justice League film has basically caused the reactive shit shuffling that Warner Brothers has been known to do regarding what's happened as of recently. As we all know, Justice League was a box office failure. It didn't make the money at all. It didn't even make half the money that it was supposed to make. Not much of a profit there going on, and it was going to be a big band-aid for them for Warner Brothers and DC to actually go forward with all of this, considering. So they did appoint James Wan's collaborator, the director of Aquaman, his producer from his previous films, from the Conjuring films, is apparently now the new head producer. He'll be overseeing, along with Jeff Johns, a lot of the projects, the DC Films projects coming up. That's about pretty much it regarding that. We got confirmation of Suicide Squad 2 filming is underway. Apparently, El Diablo didn't die in the first one because the actor's back in training again for the role, along with Jay Courtney and I think the guy's name is Joel Kinnaman, who played Flag, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but Captain Boomerang is definitely in the picture along with El Diablo, and I don't know how this is going to come out, to be quite honest with you. This movie, well, to be honest with you, I really think that I can only hope. I could only hope that this movie can, the only direction that it can go to is up, because as of Suicide Squad to me was the worst out of the bunch. I think Suicide Squad was actually the worst out of all of the DC films that have been released since Man of Steel. It's just been one jargled mess after the other, and it's just been like, I don't blame it entirely on the director, of course, but well, bullshit. I actually kind of do, because he's kind of been hit or miss recently. I haven't watched Bright, but I've heard mixed reactions regarding it, so I'm not really running to I'm not really running to watch it anytime soon, to be honest with you. And I like Will Smith. It's not like I have a problem with Will Smith. I always love Will Smith. But it just, for some reason, it doesn't really appeal to me so far. It almost kind of reminds me of this. I kind of get a District 9 vibe off of that. And I really wasn't too into District 9 like that to begin with. So I'm not really, just like I said, it's, yeah, if it happens where if I'm extremely bored and there's literally nothing else on because I've watched everything on Netflix, then I'll stream it. But there's no rush for me on that. So kudos to the guys. Kudos to you guys if you watched it and loved it. By all means necessary, I haven't gotten around to it. So far with that. But major announcement has been made since I believe last week. As we all know, this year is the 80th anniversary of Superman. That's right, the Big Blue, the granddaddy, the one that started it all. It's gonna be 80 years. He's gonna be 80 years old, and to celebrate that, of course, is a milestone release this April of Action Comics issue number 1000. Exactly, issue number 1000. It's gonna be the first comic book title ever before Batman and before Wonder Woman to reach that milestone of issue number 1000. And it's gonna be it's a hell of a celebration. I love the team that they have on it. From, even though he's been kind of hit or miss, Brian Michael Bendis, this is gonna be his debut, and don't fuck up. But this is actually gonna be his debut. Everybody's gonna be is gonna be a huge issue. Control, it's gonna be a bunch of stories. Contrived by a bunch of writers. They've got, of course, the regulars, Dan Jurgens, of course, and Jim Lee providing the illustrations, and who else? Jeff Johns as well, collaborating for a story with, and this is very intriguing to me, Richard Donner. Richard Donner, yes, you heard me right, folks. Richard Donner, the director of Superman 1, Superman 2, All Lethal Weapons, The Goonies. Richard Donner is actually going to have a story in the book of action, in the Action Comics number 1000, the Superman. It's gonna be amazing. It's almost as it's like, I hope that they keep that, and I cannot wait to see what the spirit of it is gonna be, because I know for a fact I'm gonna see a modern take of what Christopher Reeve's Superman would have been like, and that's awesome. I've always been a diehard Superman fan. Christopher Reeve to me has always been like, my my hero, man. He's always been my hero, to be quite honest. I've always, he was the first one to start it off for me, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for that. And to top it off with that celebration, they're doing the one thing, and finally, a lot of people are speculating if it's going to be permanent or not, but I believe it is. They're returning the red trunks. The return of the red trunks, the iconic trunks. That's right. Those underwears that you see him wearing right there are coming back. They're coming back. That's it, man. This is it. This is the DC universe finally shedding all of that New 52 skin right off. That's right, man. And it's also a big FU and bird flip to the Snyderverse as well, because it's getting back to the core essence of what these characters are. Now, with that being said, I cannot wait to see this. As I said before, people are speculating whether the return of this costume change is permanent or not. I do believe that it's permanent, because on the sketch that was illustrated from Jim Lee, again, it was a gorgeous piece of artwork. I've noticed there were some changes as well. Superman still has those the cuffs on his sleeves, like Man of Steel, like in the Man of Steel's like in the Man of Steel films, and Dawn of Justice, of course. And it looks like it's returning back for good, and it's a good thing too, because in a way. But after, even though the New 52 was was a success to an extent, it wasn't the success that they wanted, and it alienated a lot of the older fans. It really did, because it changed a lot of the thing. It changed a lot of details. It made the characters much more edgier and hip, or whatever the case may be. It was just another. To me, it was just an attempt to stay in the lane with being trendy, and it really was. It didn't. It didn't go well. It didn't bode well for a lot of people. Honestly, it started off with a bang, but then it just went right back to crap for some reason, and. This was a basic, this rebirth movement, this rebirth ordeal has completely been, a blessing in a lot of ways. It actually, it actually got it right. It was a course correct change for a lot of the books that needed to be done. However, I'm still waiting on a few books that are missing for some reason. Shazam, which doesn't make sense that he's not that he hasn't had a solo title since the Rebirth event, considering he's one of the major films that are coming out. As well as Green Martian Manhunter, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I see Lobo anywhere around there either, which is a little strange. I did see them. I did see the advertisements about them introducing a few more books. One of them is Damage. I forgot the rest of the names of the other ones. I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. I do know about that. I do know they're coming out, but as of now, the only one I know is the only one I remember is Damage. Off the top of the head, that's the only title. But it seems as though it's really taking that big 180 and just going back to the way it was, and it's actually awesome. I'm definitely appreciative of that, because it's bringing back that richness to the characters, being introduced to new stories, to new threats, and still maintaining that core essence of who they are. Quite a bit of a change, of course, was Superman, and a lot of people were not receptive to the way he was. A lot of people really didn't like the new tough guy Superman. I didn't like it either, to be quite honest. There were some points where I just wished, what, Superman is the beacon of hope. He's a happy individual. He's there to he cares for he cares for people. That's one of his major character draws, is that he cares for people. He cares for people in ways that not a lot of people, not a lot of characters in the DC universe do. And one of the main reasons why I do love a character like Shazam, because Shazam emulates Superman in a lot of ways. He's a fan of him. Billy Batson, the kid himself, is actually a big fan of Superman, and he sees him as like as a role model, as it should be. So, with that being said, it's been a hell of a ride watching this go down, but a lot of this it's a fallout to the way things were, and now look at, and it's been working well. I mean, DC's been pretty much outselling Marvel books for a long time now, since Rebirth. They've been holding it down in the top selling spots, so they're not, it's not a dud. Rebirth has been a massive success for them, and it's proven to, and it's looking more and more like that it's actually going to go ahead and transcend into the film's universe as well, which is awesome. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's a fantastic move, because this film universe needs it. And that's one of the main things that I'm so excited about the film for Shazam, is the fact that Zachary Levi himself has made it important to acknowledge that the film is like Superman meets Big, which is one of my two favorite movies of the 80s of all time. And I also wanted to talk about exactly how much of an impact that Big had on me as a child. It was the first Tom Hanks movie I ever loved. It's been it's to me, it's just it's the soundtrack in itself is amazing. If I'm not mistaken, I think the love interest, Elizabeth Perkins, she was great in the film. John Hurt is in it too, guys. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a very awesome film. It's definitely an '80s gem. So make sure you check it out. And so to cross that and like to make a hybrid of that with Superman, it just my mind is blown as it is, and so that's awesome. What else happened this month? Speaking about the Justice League debacle, of course, as I've mentioned since last month, okay, Since I mentioned last month, apparently the fans that have been finding signing a petition for the ridiculous, non-existent Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, apparently they took it a little far, and well, not as I wouldn't say. Let me rephrase that. They didn't take it too far. They just, I guess they just went a little. Man, I don't know how to say it without sounding bad. All right. Well, either way, they did go a little slightly overboard by deciding to protest at the Warner Brothers Studios, and they were throwing out. They actually threw. They threw out this entire thing online. They actually made the announcement online, but I wanted to talk about it right then and there, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to, jump that. I didn't want to jump the gun on that. So I wanted to see how that was going to play out. Although I was more than positive that it was going to turn out to be really bad. And boy, was I right. Was I right or not? And first of all, they decided to show up on the studio lot on a Saturday where no one is there, no one is working, no one is in the offices to even look or even notice them that they're outside protesting. So that was a major that there goes a major embarrassment. That was one of the major embarrassing points about that protest. The second was there was only 13 people coming out. There was only 13 people outside, as opposed to the thousands that were supposedly signing this petition and so on and so forth. And apparently it got hacked and all this other stupidity, and it's just been insane. And they became the photo. There was a photo of them actually posted around, which was another nail, which to me was the nail in the coffin, was the picture of them holding. There were 13 of them holding this giant banner with the hashtag release the Snyder Cut, which is exactly what the banner read, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And to make they were doing it in cosplay. Like there was an actual Wonder Woman, an actual Batman. I think there was an actual Flash there. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. I know a lot of people. Listen, I'm a fan like everyone else. I love you guys. I love being a fan for this. These are my heroes. These are my characters. But to be going to such ridiculous lengths, it's just embarrassing. And that's exactly what they did. They really pretty much just embarrassed themselves in front of people, because who the hell was going to take them seriously to begin with? First of all, why the hell am I going to listen to a guy dressed in a Batman? If I was one on the board with the executives, why would I pay attention? Why would I give a rat's ass about a guy in but a couple of people outside, screaming for an edition of a film that pretty much doesn't even exist at this point. It's either gone in a gar. It's whatever footage that was shot was destroyed because it wasn't finished anyways to begin with. So it's gone. They're not ever getting that back. You're not ever going to see that's never going to see the light of day. That thing is probably in paper shredder or just burned in an incinerator somewhere in the boiler room in the studio lot. But that shit is gone. To make matters worse, it's just like you want them to listen to the few people who have actually been well received this universe under this incompetent director's under this incompetent filmmaker's direction, which pretty much cost them money. Let's cut the shit. The Zack Snyder cost Warner Brothers a shitload of money. He did. He didn't deliver. None of the movies that he made delivered. They didn't crack $1 billion. So he screwed up he really screwed the pooch on his end. And to be quite honest, it's just like nobody wants him around anymore. To make matters worse, the other directors that are on there are top tier talent, mind you. So you really can't compare. You really just can't compare. You can't have a person who's just a mediocre, at best, a mediocre filmmaker coming out and just just direct an entire universe. But of course, that's also in due in part to Warner Brothers' fault as well, because entrusting this man with the keys to such a large vehicle was just completely boneheaded in every way, shape, or form. It's like, what the hell are they doing? They just got lucky with they literally just got lucky with those few times that he's directed those films, like Watchmen, Man of Steel, even, and even with Dawn of Justice, because even with the reviews for Dawn of Justice still pulled money. It wasn't the $1 billion movie that it was supposed to be, which is where he also screwed up. But it still made enough money. But with that being said, like, he should have been cut off a long time ago. They should have terminated his contract immediately right after Dawn of Justice. He shouldn't have been allowed to touch Justice League. Justice League could have been completely delayed and given to much more superior filmmakers and writers to go ahead and bring this vision to life the way it was supposed to. So there's no Snyder cut, of course, and there's already the box art has already released online for the Blu-ray. There's no special editions. There's just maybe one or two deleted scenes at this point. To me, somebody in the CB and somebody on CBM.com said something to the effect that I actually started to agree with. I believe that Warner Brothers, this Justice League was the final to Snyder and his objectivism towards the characters and his direction of being super edgy and super serious and making these characters completely exactly alike. They were all carbon copies of Batman with superpowers, and just said, you know what, this is the end this is the end of the road for you. Have a good life. Take care. Vaya con Dios. Whatever, but just get the hell out of here. I think that's exactly what this movie really was. When I look at it in that perspective, like I can't help but feel that there's, even if that's not, of course, they're never going to publicly admit this, and they'll never go on record because they shouldn't anyways. But there's a few people in there in that studio over in Burbank, California, that are pretty much echoing that sentiment of, like, you know what, you want to have this crappy, aesthetic for these films. Here's ours. F you, piss off now. Don't ever come back here again. So it's kind of like, so it was pretty hilarious in that retrospect. However, I'm not disrespecting the man himself. I do understand that I understand that he had the tragedy that he had last year, and but we're not talking about the artist. We're talking about the art, and so it's just been suck, one big old bag of suck since it started off. So. A lot of stuff has been going on. People are still wondering, of course, now because of the lukewarm response and then the negative reactions. It seems to be that Ben Affleck is also still on the fence of being Batman, which is at this point, I'd rather if he's gonna stay, just stay. If not, then get the hell out. I'd rather he just confirm already, because at this point, either it's he's probably going to be hindering any future projects coming along, which is exactly why I guess why Matt Reeves is taking his sweet time with the script also. So it kind of works in his favor. But it looks like they have it looks like they're finally getting some sort of perspective going. But then again, every time I feel like that every time that I feel like they're doing that, it always blows up in my face, so I don't really put too much stock into it. But they're keeping, as far as I'm concerned, I know that Suicide Squad 2 is coming out, which is fucked up considering that Man of Steel started all of this, and yet nobody's giving Henry Cavill his proper sequel. Dawn of Justice to me was not a sequel. It was just another it was just basically, the movie was about Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne going at it. Don't give me this bullshit that it was about Batman and Superman. Fuck that. That's not even close to the truth. They were barely in the movie themselves. So let's keep it real. And finally, we get the Superman that we know and love in Justice League, and yet it's not that. He wasn't really. I want to see more. I want to see Henry Cavill's Superman done right. I want him to have his own film. I want him to have an appropriate sequel, a proper sequel that addresses and honors the character the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be. Because even Henry Cavill even said it himself in an interview regarding Superman and Justice League, that this is the true Superman that we're finally seeing on screen. Now, with that being said, that tells you that it's kind of, whether he realized it or not, I think that it was kind of a slight dig at Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder's Superman was really a dick. Let's be realistic about it. Superman was a dick. He didn't like it. He didn't like having to save people. He was constantly under pressure, mopey, and depressed about being under being under a microscope from the government and blah blah blah. They made him an asshole. They really made him an asshole, and you can't do that. This is Superman we're talking about. This is a character who started the entire comic book movie genre to begin with. So to be giving him this kind of beat, to give him that material, is really a slap in the face. It's a slap of face. It's a slap in the face to the character. It's a slap in the face to the actor himself because he's not able to really properly flex his muscles, his chops on the screen the way he's supposed to for the character. So in a lot of ways, it's it really was. This was kind of a blessing in disguise because you know a lot of what happened in the Snyderverse had to get retconned. It's gonna, regardless of the fact, it's gonna have to get retconned, which is why they're probably gonna take their time now with the films, and of course adapt. They say that they're gonna adapt the less fewer, the fewer cooks in the kitchen kind of mantra. But in all honesty, like I said, it's all the proof is in the pudding. So we're not gonna know exactly until we see the final product. Um, at this point right now, the only thing that we got coming up so far this year is Aquaman, and that's all the way in December. So there's a ways to go, a ways to go. So until we can, it's probably going to be a long time before we could even see a teaser trailer. I'll be honest with you, we'll be lucky if we get a teaser trailer in May with Avengers, and that's a big if. But for that being said, it's just um, it's looking like we're finally. It's looking like the boat is finally clearing the storm and getting into calm waters and starting into starting to come in and do what it needs to do. So fingers crossed, and of course, good riddance to bad rubbish. No Snyder cut. There weren't gonna be no Snyder cut, and I'm not even gonna be a fan of a Snyder cut. To be quite honest, I didn't like Dawn of Justice, and even though Justice League was heavily flawed, heavily flawed, it was definitely a step in the right direction, tonally for the characters, and it's gonna move forward. It's gonna help them to springboard and move forward from this. So with that being said, I know if you guys like Snyder, if you guys don't like Snyder, hey, I'm with you. I understand if you do, more power to you. But the only thing I ask is just if you want to talk about it, talk about that. But like I said, a lot of Snyder fans are cultists for some reason. And some of them even leaked onto CBM.com in the forum. When I saw the comments, they actually threw out one of the links to sign a petition for it. And everyone clowned that person right on site, like you get out of here, loser, pathetic, da 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 da. I mean, this was a barrage of insults that these people were looking at and staring down the barrel of. But with that being said, I guess we're just like I said, it's always a wait and see kind of deal. So awesome news. We also just that's right, Halloween finally kicked off its production. It started filming this week. It's looking like it's gonna be a pretty good one. I cannot wait to see what's going on with this film. It's the way John Carpenter has described this film. It really has me intrigued because it looks like it's going back to the roots, where it should be. It's amazing. They even have Nick Castle playing the Shape again. The man is 60 something years old, and yet he's playing Michael Myers again. And as a matter of fact, I think that's gonna be Michael's age in the film also. I mean, but it's gonna be taken out. Then we're also gonna be looking back into crazy enough that they're also gonna be revisiting the hospital where the sequel took place in Halloween 2. So that looks. I'm super psyched for this. I always love Michael Myers. Michael Myers has always been like my favorite slasher flick. Halloween has always been my favorite. Halloween's 1 and 2. I couldn't really tolerate a lot of the sequels, even though some people say Halloween 3 is kind of like a rare gem, and I get it because of the fact that and it was pretty intriguing for the story for what it was, but it just wasn't a Halloween movie, so I really don't understand why why it was a Halloween 3 to begin with. But realistically speaking, after that, the only sequel I really could have tolerated was maybe Halloween 4. Maybe Halloween 4. Halloween 5 was just terrible. Halloween 6 was just as bad. Even though it's Paul Rudd's first movie film debut, but still, like, even his acting was bad. Like, his acting was really bad in that for some reason. Like, he was so wooden in that movie. Like, it was just ridiculous. I mean, that's obviously not the case anymore, but I don't know, man. Like, the Curse of Michael Myers was just like the worst, one of the worst of the bunch. Like it went from bad to worse, and then of course H2O happened, and there was potential for H2O, but yet it just completely, it just didn't stick. It fell into the line of that mainstream teen shit that was coming out at that time that was so popular, like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, but and in that essence, it failed in the spirit of what the movie, what the characters are about. Um, then there was what was the other one? Halloween Resurrection. The less said about that, the better. And I'm not even gonna mention the Rob Zombie remakes. The Ray and the he just completely he desecrated that franchise with them with those remakes. With the remakes. I hate with such a passion. I cannot explain. I cannot express to you. Sometimes I even think about it. Which ones do I hate the most? Is it Halloween 5, 6, or Halloween and H2? They were garbage. Like they were complete garbage. So it was about this. It's definitely about time that. And among other, he's one of the other amongst other slasher flicks as well. But it's high time that we start getting a proper follow up for Michael Myers, as well as Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Chucky at this point. They seem to be doing some old new, some new shit. And every now and again, the Cult of Chucky, the Curse of Chucky, da 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 da. I don't care anymore. Get back to the essence of what made it actually good. To when the first film, when Child's Play came out, it was actually pretty groundbreaking because of what it was about, the setting of it all, and how it managed to incorporate and how it managed to become such a horror classic. So they can't seem to replicate that for some reason in any way, shape, or form in the following films. But and then they went the Freddy Krueger route and decided to go completely comedic with him in the following films. So I'm hoping that he also gets himself. They get this character back on track along with the franchise because it's been pretty bad as of recently with that. But definitely, and I see that they're starting to drop some clips right about now for Black Panther, which I'm avoiding. I probably won't see them until maybe opening week. But at this point, I don't want to have any spoilers because Black Panther is looks completely awesome and badass. I cannot wait. The rumor mill about the Black Widow movie. All right, guys. I'm gonna be honest here. I know I love the MCU. I love the Marvel films. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do I think every character deserves their own solo? Hell no. Hell no. Do I think Black Widow deserves her solo film? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Unless they're keeping it as a minimal budget and they give it a small budget and they don't go overboard, there's no reason for a solo Black Widow film. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of you guys riding ScarJo's nuts right now with that. I'm not one of them. Not needed. It's really, to be quite honest, it's a waste of money. What I think they should do is just focus now on Captain Marvel. Now that they've got 20th Century Fox, how about focusing on X-Men? Give the X-Men a proper film. They deserve that too. That's another property that's also been mistreated as well on screen. You know, there's no reason. I really don't see any reason whatsoever that they would benefit for a Black Widow film, especially now when they have Captain Marvel coming out. It's just stupid. It makes no sense. It's a waste of money, and let's be real about it. ScarJo really isn't. Is ScarJo really that big of a box office draw? I mean, seriously, look at Ghost in the Shell. Look at Ghost in the Shell. And what about the other projects that she's done outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? She's really not that much of a heavy hitter, guys. So to be crying out loud, and I know there's a lot of fanboys and there's a demand, you're just being a hater or this then the third. No, I'm not being a hater. I'm being a realist. There really isn't that much of a high demand for it. That's a movie. If they ever make a Black Widow movie, it's basically something there ain't shit on. That's something you see that there ain't shit in the theaters, but you want to see a movie anyway, so you just drop you drop a 10, you drop a 12 on it, and then just kill an hour and a half. because there's really no reason for them to go ahead and do it. And plus, it's like I said, Scarlett Johansson is just not, she's really not that big of a box office draw like a lot of people are making it out to be. All right. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I take away anything that she's done from her work at all, but seriously speaking, like, it's just, there's certain things, well, there's times when you're reaching, and this is it. They're reaching. So with that being said, I definitely, you know, as long as it's kept as a small budget film, and if they have a few features of the other Marvel characters in it, then all by all means necessary. Um, Also, shout out to Sony for giving us a gassed up look on Tom Hardy yet again for Venom, breaking everybody down. Like, oh, they made this whole huge announcement about showing Tom Hardy off as Eddie Brock, but who gives a shit, man? I want to see what the costume looks like. How's he gonna look like as Venom? I don't care about this. We all know he's gonna be looking run down and disheveled because of the story. Everybody knows the backstory for Venom and for Eddie Brock. But cut the shit, man. Like, can you just give us a good screenshot of him in costume rather than these ridiculous nonsense photos? But thanks for that, Sony. I really appreciate being gassed up the way I was. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to close it out right about now. But definitely, if you have any questions or comments, any suggestions you want to have, and hit the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe if this is your first time watching. If you have anything you want to discuss, let's talk about this. This is the forum. If you disagree or agree with me about the Black Widow film, amongst other things that we discussed in this episode, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. So thank you once again for riding out with me, and I'll see you around next time. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.